Our next guest is the new home sideline reporter. You've seen her, you love her from women's soccer. She's the analyst. Now she's going to help us out with football on the sideline. Carla Swensen-Haslam. Carla, great to have you in Studio B. How you doing?
I'm so glad to be here. It's crazy. I was at BYU for 4 years playing as a college athlete. Never got the opportunity to be here until after I graduated.
Oh, that's too bad. We didn't invite you as a player.
Not to make you feel guilty or anything.
Right. Well, the producer, yeah.
Not that I'm bitter or anything.
She's a much bigger deal now. Much bigger deal now.
And you haven't left. You've been around. You're in BYU Law School right now, so you're a busy beaver right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that just demonstrates I must have liked my time here at BYU because I decided to come back.
So women's soccer analysis, you've done a couple of games with me. That's been really fun, or me with you, rather, subbing in for Spencer. And this team's great. We'll talk about them in a minute. But what's your sense of BYU football right now as you make your debut on the sideline tomorrow night?
You know what? You were talking about it with Blaine, how this would be a big win. This would be one of those historical wins that is talked about for a long time. And so I'm hoping for my first game as a sideline reporter for BYU football that it can be one of those memorable games. My hope is that people will be looking at this film years from now, talking about it with their children and their grandchildren, and that I'll be there somewhere, calling the sideline, doing the game-winning interview with whoever scores the game-winning touchdown.
That would be ideal, right?
That would be ideal.
And hopefully it's not raining. We got the worst weather possible probably for your first game.
Did you get one of the new big BYU?
I did.
Okay.
I did. The only thing is I'm 5 feet tall, and so these jackets just encompass me. I'm a blue BYU TV snowman.
I'm not little. That thing is huge.
Yes.
But huge is good because we're going to layer up tomorrow night, and everything's going to be fine. So we're really excited to have you working with us tomorrow night. For those of that don't know, because you haven't been on the show with us, tell us a little bit about your background, your upbringing. You didn't just grow up here in the United States. So folks know as they're watching you tomorrow night, they know a little bit about you.
Yeah. So I, to be honest, didn't grow up a BYU fan. In fact, I grew up going to Rice Eccles Stadium.
Yikes.
To watch the Utes play. My father's a U of U graduate. I mean, we bled red. We were all about making fun of the Zoobies, the Cougs, the Boogers. We had all the nicknames for them.
I love making fun of the Zoobies.
Right? And so, I never thought that I would end up going to BYU, but I played soccer growing up. And the time started to come where I was looking at playing at the collegiate level. I was starting to play with the U20 Colombian women's national team. I'm Colombian, so spent some time in my teenage years in Colombia, in Cali, is the city where my family's from. And as I started approaching the college game, BYU women's soccer, always consistently one of the top teams in the country. It was close to home. I'm a member of the church. And so all of these things kind of added up thinking, oh my heavens, I may end up going to BYU. And that's exactly what ended up happening. I actually ended up being very close to committing to Boise State.
So timely.
So timely that this would be my first game as a sideline reporter against Boise State, but ended up being so thrilled with the offer to come play for BYU, played under Jennifer Rockwood, and just graduated. I graduated in 2018. And like I said, had a wonderful experience. And now you can rest in peace because now I bleed blue.
Yes.
Now I am a BYU fan. I have been converted.
Yeah, you made me mildly nervous for a second. I was like, wait a minute. No,
they're the Wilson family, Zach Wilson's family.
Converts,
They had to come on over. They came over in a big hurry, though. They're just all BYU now.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Like I said, I came back, so I must have enjoyed my time here, and I'm obviously calling for the BYU women's soccer team, and it's been a strange turn of events, but I've absolutely loved every step of it.
What storylines stick out to you going into tomorrow night's game with Boise State?
I think you guys had mentioned earlier the QB. I mean, the QB is the glue. It's the playmaker. And the fact that we're going to be looking to someone who we haven't seen that many reps, we haven't seen too often, Romney, most likely. Obviously, tomorrow, that's going to be part of my job is to help you guys, to help the fans kind of get an idea of who's warming up and what they're doing. And so I think that's the biggest storyline is we have a new QB coming in and playing against a really talented ranked team. So I think that's the biggest one. I also think the cold is going to play some sort of role in this game. I mean, I think back to when I was playing, soccer, the cold does affect how you play. And it affects, too, if you're in football when you're taking breaks between plays. Like, how do you keep warm? How do you stay focused when you're freezing cold? And so I do think that's gonna play an element. And that being said, BYU's opponent is a team that also plays in cold weather. So it's not as advantageous for BYU as I think it would be if they were playing against some Florida teams. But that being said, I think those are going to kind of be the two big headlines that we're going to be looking for on Saturday's match.
Very cool. Let's turn the page to soccer a little bit. Women's soccer ranked 5th in the country. They host St. Mary's tonight. They're off to this incredible start.
Yes.
First, so what makes this team so special? And is this a team capable of winning a national championship this year?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'll answer your first one first. The thing that makes BYU, I think, so dangerous is that their defense gets into the attack. You don't see that very often in the college game. You start to see that more at the professional level. But at the college game, you never see your wings, your defensive wings, getting into the attack. I've told Jarom before, and you'll hear it if you listen to the broadcast, like soccer is nothing but it's a numbers game. It's a game of numbers and it's a game of space. And everyone kind of has their mark. Everyone knows who they're in charge of. But the minute you bring your defensive wings into the attack, all of that gets disrupted. Suddenly, you have defenders having to make 2 marks. Suddenly, that means they're having to leave someone. That leaves Elise Flake and Cameron Tucker open in the center of the field, which, if you're playing against BYU, you never want. And so I think that is what is making this team so successful and why they're having so many goals and so many opportunities, is they're just bringing far more numbers up than I think their opponents are ready for.
They've been really fun to watch. Looking forward to seeing kind of what they can do the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Could this be the first Final Four team in BYU women's soccer?
Hey, let's go all the way. Let's just get a national championship.
Why not?
Let's
right?
go get one. They're capable, right?
Oh, of course. At this level, everyone is so talented. Like, all it takes is that little bit extra focus, those little extra details to go all the way.
You know what? Let's give you the player treatment. Let's have you sign the flag because you've never been here. And now you're part of us.
What an honor!
And let's give you.
I'm in the in club, the it club.
Now you're in.
All
so
right.
go ahead.
Can you reach up by me? I don't think you can reach up.
Very funny, Blaine. All right. Sign right.
All right.
That's
Thanks, Karla.
awesome. Hey,
Appreciate
come
it.